This is not the computer I usually use. This is not the program I usually use. I, like a fool, left my computer, and oh, by the way, the last 100 or so episodes of Coast to Coast Pinball's only backup at my mom's house in Oregon, and it's being sent to me. And until then, I am on Teresa's computer, which is strange and weird, and I don't like it. So episode 176 is going to be awkward, strange, and weird, but we'll do it anyway because we need to. So let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast of commentary. I am a man out of quarters. Summer break is over. Took a little summer vacation, and just a little bit of foreshadowing. There will be another summer vacation in the not-too-distant future. My company shut down for a week, and I took it off, and I had no time to record. I had no opportunity to record a show. But here we are. We're back. It is San Diego, California, where we're coming to you not live on July 6th, 2015. Good to be with you. It's good. I've been wanting to do a show. I've been texting a few people and saying, man, I want to get a show done. I want to get going, get back on this. We actually have a lot going on right now. There's shows coming. There's shows in the works. I'm planning some stuff. Things are happening. We're going to jump right into, by the way, I have none of my bumpers here tonight. None of it. So we're going to be doing everything manually, old school, guerrilla podcasting here, because I don't have any of my cool, or at least, I don't know if they're cool or not, but I don't have any of my little special effects. We'll see if I even get music up on this thing. It's an interesting evening here at the Coast to Coast Pinball Studios as we work with what we've got, as they say. But I think the quality's going to be fine. So let's jump into 5 fast thoughts. Fast thought number 1. Spring break, man. Or spring break? I wrote spring break. Summer break. Summer break's over for now. So my trip. I was supposed to go to Eastern Oregon. Let's just call it the Boise, Idaho area. And then on to Seattle to see my grandparents after I saw my mom. Trip got all messed up and changed. This has happened to me before. My dear grandmother is not in the best of health and decided she couldn't do with all the kids and grandkids descending upon her place in the Seattle area. So I never got to Washington, basically. And it's really a shame because I have very cool people and friends in Washington and some friendly listeners and just friends of the show who have met through the show, heard me saying I was coming to the Seattle area and invited me to come play pinball with them, and I never got to Washington. So Teresa and I stayed in the small town of Adrian, Oregon. That's where I went to high school, Adrian, Oregon. Population less than 600, I believe. And there's no pinball in Adrian, Oregon. Although there was a Jungle Lord in the back of one of the gas stations about 5 miles out of town a few years ago that I remember seeing. However, about 25 miles away in a town called Ontario, Oregon, there's a bowling alley. And they've always had a pinball machine or two there. And it was really the only pinball I ever played in high school. And we were there a couple times since Coast to Coast Pinball is going on, and I remember once they had a really beautiful Tales of the Arabian Nights. Last time they didn't have anything I really liked. They had I know there was a Data East Simpsons there. But anyway, so Teresa and I were in Ontario doing some shopping. This is the large metropolitan area of Ontario, Oregon. Population, I think, somewhere in the 20,000 range, or 15,000 or 12,000. I don't know. It's still pretty small. But they have a bowling alley, and we went in and we checked it out. And lo and behold, they had 3 games. I was very excited. They had a Medieval Madness, which was awesome. Really nice original Williams Medieval Madness in good shape. They had a Whirlwind, also in great shape. And they had a Terminator 2. It was awesome. And Teresa had never played Whirlwind, so we got to play that a little bit. I think she'd played Terminator 2 before. But mostly we played Medieval Madness because she really enjoys that game. And she did good. Teresa's on a roll. So that fast thought number 1, if you find yourself in the Ontario, Oregon, or the Fruitland, Payette, Idaho area, there's pinball for you. And a nice little selection at that. Fast thought number 2, Space Bar in Boise, Idaho. What a cool name for an barcade, right? Space Bar. I like that a lot. I didn't get to go. Actually, I did go there. I stared through the window at some people, apparently, who were just in there really early. They don't open until 4 p.m. Teresa and I were there at like noon, and they were not open. But we waved to them in the window. Retro Arcade and pinball venue in Boise, Idaho. It's downstairs. in the main capital area. So if you're in downtown Boise, there's pinball there for you. Very cool logo, very cool location. Someday I will go there, hopefully. So I know that somebody listening to the show had emailed me a while back, maybe like a year ago on my last trip to the area, that Spacebar was there, or maybe when Spacebar opened. I don't know how long it's been there, but I've gotten an email or two before about Spacebar. So kudos to Spacebar for having pinball going in the City of Trees, Boise, Idaho. All right, this weekend in the New England area, Pintastic New England takes place. The first annual Pintastic New England. I can't go, which is a major bummer since, I work in that area. But I do want to give them one last final plug. 20,000 square feet of indoor air-conditioned space, giant flea market space, over 200 pinball machines set to free play, pinball and video game tournaments with cash prizes and trophies. Go support this. It's in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. It takes place July 10th and 11th. That is this Friday and Saturday. If you're up to date with the episodes, keeping up with us, go check it out. If you're one of the many people who email me all the time saying, hey, man, I'm starting at the beginning. I'm on episode 75. I'll see you when I get to you in the future. Go to Pintastic New England next year in 2016, because hopefully this becomes a yearly tradition. I know that I think... I'm trying to remember who all will be there. I know that Jersey Jack will be there. I know that Dennis Nordman and Greg Ferris will be there. Roger Sharp will be there. Andrew Highway will be there. Andrew Highway has a lot going on. And I know that Lloyd Olson will be there. So Jerry Stellenberg, Multimorphic. So it's actually a really very well-rounded, packed show. I think this is going to be really successful. Very excited for these guys. So best wishes to Pintastic New England this weekend. Fast thought number 4 is just Replay FX. It's coming. Somebody posted in the Replay FX thread on Pinside something effective. I'm so incredibly excited for Replay FX, I could rip somebody's arm off. Now, I don't encourage you to actually dismember any people or take any limbs off of anyone just because of your exuberance for said pinball arcade gaming show. But I get what you're saying. I'm pretty excited for it too. It's on my birthday. It's on my birthday. It's my 36th birthday is going to be the largest arcade expo of all time, as they're saying. So that's going to be July 31st, Saturday the 1st, and Sunday the 2nd. I think actually it's Thursday the 30th. Pinburg, baby, Pinburg, the largest match play tournament of all time. So that has to be one of my fast thoughts. Fast thought number 5. What was fast thought number 5? I didn't write it down. It's actually sort of a forum static. Also, it's a cross reference into forum static, so it'll be we'll ease our way into forum static right now, if you will. Fast thought number 5 is there's buzz about The Walking Dead right now. I got a lot of emails. I got 3 emails roughly, and I've had some conversations that were instigated by me about, is The Walking Dead the next big game to really gain momentum as the code develops? We're going to get to the code talk in forum static, but there seems to be this sort of upswell, this rising of people being excited about The Walking Dead now that there's this deeper level code happening and this awkward to some layout that is The Walking Dead with its asymmetry and its sort of unfortunate drains from the pop bumper area is starting to maybe turn a little bit, and people are starting to say, well, hey, it's different. It's not a traditional, just simple fan layout. It's got some other things going on. It's got a close bash toy. It's got a distance bash toy. Has these kind of unique, very unique ramps to it. The Walking Dead, it's on my radar. I have to admit, listening to Josh talk about it, and now there's another code update, balancing out some issues, adding some things. The animations keep getting better. I'm really kind of thinking that maybe The Walking Dead is about to hit its stride, if you know what I'm saying there. So there's 5 fast thoughts for episode 176. See, I don't know if I can pause this show, so we're gonna just jump right into forum static. Forum static. All right. If you go on the forums, sometimes I just look at the Pinside Pinball forums and I'll just scan the right-hand side to see what threads are on fire. And I literally mean what threads have a little burning fire icon next to them, because it means the topic it's so hot, it's on fire, because so many people are posting so quickly. And we've mentioned this thread on a previous show, so that means it's been up for a little bit. But it's now at 477 replies as I record this, and it's been up for 2 weeks. And it's the thread about the reality show sizzle reel pilot pitch, if you will, Pinballers. And Pinballers, if you don't know what I'm talking about, was a sizzle reel, which is a short kind of test run pitch for a TV show idea that Lionsgate went into with the Dallas collecting community. And you can find it easily on Pinside, and there's a link to the sizzle reel where you can watch kind of their idea for what their show is going to be. And, I think it's a big deal to me in a lot of ways, because I know there's lots of different TV show pitches and ideas and quote, this is an industry word for everyone, treatments going around right now of how to do pinball on TV, and there's lots of different ways. I mean, I am really, really, really wanting to see competitive pinball find its way to, if not television, a really good web series, showing and building the drama of competitive pinball, because I think that could be really big. I also think there's other ways to do shows about pinball. This was one of them. This was the idea of kind of taking the Storage Wars / American Pickers reality show type idea and showcasing a cast of characters who are all involved in that. If you've ever watched Storage Wars, it's not like you see 20 different people every episode who are into, buying storage lockers and sifting through them to see what they get. No, you see the same people over and over in what seemed to me at times to be semi-staged, quote, public auctions for these. So that was the idea here, is that you were going to see this reoccurring group of people in one area of the country, and then maybe they would possibly travel to pinball shows, and it would be these people buying games, restoring games, flipping games, auctioning games for a profit, and it would detail what they all do in pinball. And the community has reacted really, really strongly to this video, and so strongly, in fact, that I'm going to have some of the cast, and I believe also the producer of the sizzle reel, on the show this week. That's the plan right now. Plans change, but I'm pretty sure we're locked in here for later in the week. And we're going to talk about the experience and the ideas and what made the cut, what didn't make the cut. Could it still get picked up? Could it be a web-only thing, et cetera, et cetera? We're going to talk to these guys about their experience. But I just kind of want to touch on it because I'm really surprised how polarizing this video has been. Because when I saw it, I got to be honest, I thought it was really cool that there was this like loud, energetic, colorful video of the pinball community going. I was like, yeah, cool. I mean, that's just what I thought. And I also kind of saw that, well, this might fall short as far as being, a hit show about pinball, because I did see some what I thought were kind of, I don't know, just it seemed a little too derivative of what's already in the reality TV genre, which I don't think that's stopped a lot of other shows from making it to TV. But I just wondered what really I didn't feel like it drove home the point of why I'm watching the show based on the sizzle reel. I'm really into pinball, clearly, and I was excited about it. But I try to put myself in the shoes of like someone else who's beyond Teresa, beyond your significant other, friendly listener, somebody who has no idea and is just flipping channels. Home alone on a Friday night, and they see a colorful game and they stop for a second. Does it draw them in? And I don't know if the whole buying and flipping thing, I don't know if that's a broad enough subject, but I think that the intentions were going to be more than that. But that is definitely the buying, flipping, profiting side of the pinball hobby was if not highlighted on the video, it's certainly what people latched onto after watching the video. And that has stoked up a lot of fire in people saying, those prices are crazy, or I don't want this for the pinball community. Games are already too expensive. This is going to drive up the prices. You're going to bring in the, quote, wrong kind of people into pinball, which I find that sort of, I get what they're saying. I totally get what they're saying, but it's also, who's wrong kind of people? It makes me feel a little weird to say anybody's the wrong kind of people for pinball. I don't like the way that sounds, but I get that there's that natural instinct when you're a part of a hobby that's, kind of niche, Maybe, we're all this community that, we fight, we complain on the internet, and we whatever, but at the same time, we're all sort of in this together, right? We all love playing these big boxes of lights and, mechanics and hitting this little ball around. You kind of want to protect that. And I think to some, the idea of seeing, this Monster Bash be on TV and being sold for $10,000 that the guy bought for $3,000, I think that bothers some people on some level. But the argument there is, hey, we're just trying to get people aware of the game. We just want people to see how cool these things are. We want people to say, oh, yeah, I used to play pinball. I never thought I could buy an old one. I could fix it up. That could be my thing. I think we need all types in the hobby. I'm so thankful there are people like CPR and like John Greatwich. And like there's these people out there who are into restoration and modding, Measle Mods, the LED companies, the Pinball Life people. I'm so thankful they're those people because I don't want to do any of that. Like, none of it. I just want to give those people my money and they give me cool stuff. I'm so thankful that Stern is doing what Stern's doing, and Spooky Pinball is doing what Spooky Pinball's doing, and Highway Pinball is doing what Highway Pinball's doing, and Dutch Pinball is doing. I'm so thankful that all these companies are out there who have this idea of, like, I could design something and create this artistic and innovative, version of this thing that I love, and I can do this, and I will sell it to be. I can't do that. I don't want to I don't want to do all that. I want to buy their games and play their games and enjoy their games and have that thrill that I still get playing these crazy games. That's what I want. So to say that, like, we don't want to get the wrong people in, I think that to a lot of people, some of the best people would probably be the wrong people. I might be the wrong people. I've heard that I'm the wrong people. And sorry, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So I think that I would love to see a pinball TV show made. I would love to see that. I have ideas for pinball TV shows. You never know what could happen. But I would love to see somebody get a pinball TV show made. Even if it was a web show, like a really good internet, like digital media, web show about pinball. I'd love to see one all on collecting. I would love to see this old pinball. Like Clay Harrell's idea of taking this old house, making this old pinball. I would love to see TNT Amusements in their YouTube videos become sort of a structured television or web show. Something like that. I would like that. I would enjoy that. I loved Papa TV Roadshow. I love that. They're hard to do. It's not easy. It costs a lot of money. It takes effort, and it's why I've been torn on this thing, because I didn't see Pinballers as the be-all, end-all of, oh, this is the show about pinball. But I definitely saw it as something fun and cool, and I'm looking forward to chatting with Ed and some of the guys who are involved in that project when we do that this weekend. It's tough with pinball, because when I say pinball TV show, every one of you thinks something different in your head. When I first started thinking pinball TV, or just, video, something in the video medium for pinball, my early thoughts were just all, competition based, like tournament based, like, because I played a lot of poker. I wouldn't say, so I played poker basically from age 18 to age like 31, 32. From those years, I was an active poker player, playing in multiple big tournaments every year, playing online when it was still quasi-legal and happening to a great degree, traveling to play poker, and doing well at it. I played a lot of poker, and I watched the rise of the World Series of Poker on TV. I remember when I first started playing, I was playing on Indian reservations in Arizona. I was in college, and I would go to 7 p.m. tournaments that I could get in for like $50, $40 or $50, which to me was a lot of money back then, and I had to win occasionally to keep doing it. And there was 50 people in those tournaments, 40 people in those tournaments, 30 people in those tournaments. If I went to the daytime tournaments, like during the summer when I didn't have class, there might be 30 people, 25 people, and it was a lot of older people. I was 18, by far the youngest person playing. I was born in Nevada. I've always had the gambling poker thing in my head that I liked it, like playing cards. So I'd go to these things. And then Chris Moneymaker won the World Series. I'd have to do the math. I was probably like 19, 20. It was a couple years after I'd started playing, and it blew up. it got so big. It went from this thing where I was like mail ordering tapes of poker tournaments on videotape to watch somebody else play poker. Like I would send money, like write a check to somebody in the back of Card Player magazine to get these videotapes, to the point where you fast forward to like the late 2000s, I couldn't stomach any more poker on TV. There was so much of it. I couldn't keep up with it. My big years in poker was like 2010, 2011. I was just burnt out on it. It was too much. So with pinball, my immediate thought is, it's kind of like that. I go to these arcades, and sometimes I'm in the Silver Ball Museum in Asbury Park by myself. I'm the only one playing in this place of 150 amazing games. Or I'm in Modern Pinball NYC, and there's 3 people in there occasionally. Or I'm in a bowling alley in Ontario, Oregon, and I go in, and the guy says, "What can I do?" And I'm here to play pinball. And he looks at me like I'm insane. So I see that, and I think, man, if people just could see how fun it is, like they did with poker. Now, obviously, there's the whole thing is, there was money to be made in poker, both in just the normal play, which you don't have in pinball, and definitely in the competition, which you do have a little tiny bit in pinball. But I've been focused for a long time on, there needs to be a show on competition. It needs to have good hosts that are the voice of it, that can talk through it, that can tell the stories. The players need to be highlighted. If you have to stage the tournaments with only the good players, sort of like a lot of the poker things started happening later, where it was like Poker After Dark. It was a private set. There were certain people invited, and you were really focused on the personality. The game was secondary. Maybe that's what it needs. Maybe that's what pinball needs, is we need the cast of few to show how cool it could be. Or maybe it needs to be Papa. Maybe somebody needs to really dive in and figure out how to edit Papa World Championships down to a show that anybody could watch, that just, sitting on the couch like, oh, this is interesting. It's hard. It doesn't translate as well. We talked about that before. I'm starting to think there's other ways to do it. I think that Pinballers open my eyes a little bit. I think there's some other projects that have been pitched to me that I've talked about with some people that I think could be really good. There's lots of aspects of pinball. I think we need to sort of maybe temper our expectations. I love that saying, by the way. Temper our expectations. Maybe it needs to be a really good web series. Something that's based either off YouTube or off private sites. But maybe that's it. And I think it should be done for the love of it, not necessarily the money. The money will come if it's quality and good. I believe that. People will succeed, but it should be done for the love of it, right? And then I don't think there's any argument whether it's good or bad for the hobby. Because if somebody loves pinball and is doing that for the right reasons, pouring their heart into a project, whether it's replacement rails for their pinball machine, whether it's color DMDs, whether it's new machines, or blog sites about the stories that are pinball. If somebody's really pouring their energy, their spare time, their life's moments into this hobby, then that's a good thing. Those are the things we're looking for, I think. There's a soapbox. I'm stepping down. Leave it to Jared, who is Stern's social media manager, to take the announcement of code for a few games and name it, and I quote, Stern 4th of July Code Explosion. It's been fun watching Jared take the reins at Stern and run the Facebook page and just the social media in general. And, I really criticized Stern over the last couple of years of how poorly I thought the games were launched. I just thought it was like, instead of holding the trophy up above your head, like, look at what I've got, it was more like, you started to pull it out of your jacket and you stumbled and fell and it tripped in front of you and it's like, oh yeah, I got that here today. It was just a bad launch after bad launch, like bad leaks and just like, oh yeah, we're building this game. And so KISS was a breath of fresh air to see this kind of really fun launch with video and lots of updates and behind the scenes photos. So hats off to them for that. This is another major holiday. I think the previous one was what, Memorial Day, when they released code updates. So we got new code for Metallica, Walking Dead, and Whoa Nelly. And I have the Metallica code installed on my game already, and I didn't notice major differences. I'm also only about 20 games in, and some of those were trying to beat my pretty wife because she's very competitive. So I wasn't paying that close attention. But the Walking Dead code looks pretty deep. I think they figured out some of the scoring balance there a little bit. They added effects to the toppers. They added all sorts of stuff. So they're really, really working on it. And then even Whoa Nelly got a code update, and I can't speak to exactly what the code update did there. I mean, I guess I could click on the README file and tell you that it did some stuff with the coils are all adjustable, and she knows the names for each player, and there's carryover lane features and stuff. So there's even updated code for Whoa Nelly, which I really am looking forward to see Whoa Nelly reviews and feedbacks, another 6 months from now, once that game's been out for a while, because, it has a bit of a novelty effect, and I'm wondering, because clearly I was wrong. They sold more than I thought they would, and they seem to be giving it tons of support, which is great to see. I'm really happy for, Greg and Dennis on that, for sure. But I'm interested to see how the people who bought that game for home use feel about that game another 6 months or a year out from now. Very interesting to see, because it's a different game, for sure. So, I mean, that's my last little bit of forum static I wanted to just touch on was kudos to Stern for understand, and maybe they don't do this on purpose, maybe they do, but, when we're gamers, right? We're pinballers, but we're gamers. And when you give us a code update before the weekend, like a long holiday weekend, that's the best. That is the best. It's kind of like buying when I was a kid and getting a new video game right before the weekend for like my Nintendo or my Super Nintendo. It was just the best to have something new to play and enjoy over the weekend. That's really good. It's so simple too. Just get all the code ready and then wait till the next holiday and release it out. It makes it feel like it's an event. It makes it feel important. It makes people excited about it. I like that. So I think that's really awesome. Kudos, as I said earlier, to Stern for that. Let's pause again. This new recording system, guys, that I'm only going to probably end up using once or twice for the show until my computer's back here, has me all thrown. So pause here. All right, it is time to check the email. I mean, I can't even use like my Gmail properly on this computer. I'm using Teresa's. I gotta log into Internet Explorer, which is like, I don't know, like riding a tricycle to where I'm trying to go. Terrible. All right. No particular order. I have a ton of emails, so let's just see what we got here. Nate, longtime listener, first-time emailer. I would love to hear your opinions on the following games, as I have a chance to buy one or two of these titles from a few local friends. Junkyard, Stargate, and Avatar. All three are in good to great shape, and all three are priced fairly in my opinion. Which would you buy if you could only buy one? Which is your least favorite? I am not concerned about art or sound, mostly how much fun and satisfying the shots feel. Keep up the great work. Really been fun hearing the show grow over the past 2 years. Ken, all right, so I would buy Avatar myself, because I'm sort of on a modern kick right now. A modern kick or a really old kick, if that makes any sense. If you don't own a modern Stern game, and Avatar's priced fairly and in good shape, I'd buy it. I actually had a lot of fun playing Avatar at the Southern Fried Game Room Expo tournament at the Atlanta Pinvasion. Really enjoyed it. There's some cool strategy, stacking multi-balls. I don't know if I'm going to say underrated. I think it's kind of rated about where it should be, but it's not a bad game. I think it's funny because I think it should probably sell for about $500 less than it does normally. So I wish you had told me how much that game actually was, but not a bad game. Good game. However, if you own a Stern game from that era or later, I would then be asking yourself, let's see, Stargate or Junkyard? Junkyard. I've always sort of had this weird soft spot for Junkyard. I don't fully understand the rules. I'll give you full disclosure. And I have actually gone to the Pinball Wizard arcade in Pelham, New Hampshire on occasion and played a lot of this game and really tried to understand the rules and not done a good job. And I know it's probably not that difficult, but it's a classic example of one of those games where you walk up to it and you're like, oh, I got to hit the wrecking ball in the back. And you just do that. But then it's like, choose which piece of junk you want. And I'm like, I want the blow dryer or the toilet? I don't know what to choose, because there's not an obvious choice when somebody says take the blow dryer or the toilet. And I get that I'm trying to concoct some machine so that I can, I don't know, go back in time and meet my mom or something. I don't know. But whatever it is, I don't fully understand how to play that game. Junkyard sells below a lot of the other titles from that era of Bally Williams for a reason. I will say that much. I still kind of like it, so I would be, me personally, not knowing what you have at home right now, I would be saying Junkyard would be my second place vote, leaving Stargate. Stargate's one of those games that gets a lot of love. A lot of people like to say, oh, Stargate, there's so many shots, there's so much for you. It kind of, I don't know. I think Stargate is actually a little bit overrated, if anything. It's probably one of the better Gottlieb games. I will definitely give it that. And there is a lot going on there. But I feel like it's just pretty repetitious. And I don't know. It to me is kind of like trying to be Twilight Zone on a non-wide-body Gottlieb game, I think. I think that's kind of what they were going for. Not terrible. A few of them that I've seen that I've got to play that are like still out on location, as it would be, are in pretty rough shape at times. I think they get beat up pretty badly. But I don't think it's horrible. It's not Super Mario Brothers. Just kidding, Jake. That was for you, sir. So I don't know if you could. Let's put it this way: if you could buy either Avatar or Stargate and Junkyard, I'd buy Stargate and Junkyard. If you can only buy one, I'd buy Avatar. If you already have Spider-Man or, I don't know, Tron or something, I might buy Junkyard. And then Stargate's probably my third place, but not like a distant third. It's okay, just not that deep. And isn't the call out on that one just shoot the pyramid like over and over and over again, like shoot the pyramid, sweep the leg, yada yada yada. I don't know. So I guess that's what I got there. So thank you, Ken. I can confirm I've never gotten an email from Ken before. I don't think I've gotten an email from this gentleman before either. This email says, why no more silly endings is the topic here. The Teresa Outtakes last episode made me think back to your battles with the Ringmaster and other funny, strange bits you used to do. To coin a phrase, why so serious? I assume it has something to do with the show being more popular now than it was back then, but would love to hear you talk about this on a future show. Thanks. Hope to see you at Expo later this year. Mike. Well, Mike, we're currently talking about it on a future show. So, if you haven't been with us since the beginning of Coast to Coast Pinball, friendly listener, I had some fun vocal battles with the Ringmaster from Circus Voltaire. And I can only say this to some of the stuff from the early episodes where at the end of the show there might be some ridiculous comedic attempts. I don't think they were all that funny, so I think I sort of self-edited myself finally. B, I will say there is some truth to what Mike says. I started out this show thinking there would be a few hundred people listening to it at most. And then we got over a few thousand people. And then we got higher and higher. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people listening to this. And then you start getting emails from people who own companies or work at big companies going, hey, we were listening to this. And you're like, whoa, okay, so my words actually have meaning. Didn't really expect that, to be quite honest. Never expected I would have that sort of, weight on my shoulders of, people actually caring what I think. So, yeah, I would say that the idea of talking really seriously about subjects like, some pre-order pinball busts and people losing their money, or, critiquing a new game by people who pour their heart and soul into it and then having to say good or bad about it. those are sort of I take that seriously. I try and be fair. I try and have a well-informed opinion and have my facts straight. Interviewing people who spent a lot of their lives, or some of their professional time, or at least their hobby time in pinball. So to do that and then to end it with silly skits of me fighting an imaginary character and not done all that well. Like, I think you can do that sort of thing if you do it really well, but I don't know that I had the energy or effort to do it that well. It did seem less fun to me, I guess. I'm not saying I won't ever do it. And hey, if I was on the right computer right now with the right stuff saved to the hard drive, you never know. I might be challenged to a duel, as he once said. But yeah, the show changed. I can't deny that it changed. It got it got a little more serious. It got a little more current events for sure. And it won't always be. We're going to do other stuff. We'll go deep into mousing around. I will dive deep into the depths of I don't know. All I can think of is Super Mario Brothers, because I said that earlier. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about old games always, and we'll talk about the history. But there is stuff currently going on, and I do enjoy talking about that. So I don't know. Maybe the show did get a little more serious. What can I do? It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, hang on. Let's look here. We got another email. If I can do this right. Nate. Never really heard if you were planning on buying a Rob Zombie International Spook Show from Suki Pinball, since you have the AMH Buyer's First option. I think I may regret having to pass on this one, but I just bought an AC/DC Premium and can't commit more money to games for a while. Also, do you think there will be AMHs on the used market once Rob Zombie starts to ship? Signed, Eric. All right, so this is a complicated one for me, because yes, I bought AMH, and I bought AMH because I liked the game, okay? That was the main reason. I went and played it, I liked it, and I wanted it, and I knew it wouldn't be there for me forever to get. Because there are other games out there that I like that I just know I can go get someday. Tron. I really like Tron. I can probably always go find a Tron. The price may keep going up, but I can always go find a Tron. But I knew America's Most Haunted was going to be sort of a different situation. They announced, when I first played it was when they announced 150 as the cap, and I got the 22nd game, so I was in pretty early. And I bought it because I liked it. Now, this second game, Rob Zombie's International Spook Show. Oh, and the other reason I bought it is I really did want to support Spooky Pinball at the time, because I saw what they were doing. I saw that they were doing it the right way. And I don't know. I like their podcast, and I like them as people, and I wanted to support them, and I was in the market for a game, and there you go. I bought the game because I liked it. So, the second game was announced, and I've actually known about it for quite a while. Charlie let me in on it. That's my insider's privilege. I know, dirty insiders, and don't want to spill the beans. I've got secrets, whatever. So I knew about it, and at first I really thought, no, that's not for me. I don't like Rob Zombie music a ton. I don't dislike Rob Zombie music a ton. Rob Zombie music is sort of that like music that comes on and you're like, oh yeah, I like that song, that's cool, and you play it, but I don't think to go seek out Rob Zombie music. I probably like White Zombie better than I do most of his later solo stuff, to be quite honest. Now, the imagery, it's going to be dark. They've already said it's going to be in a dark adult themed game, so do I like that? Well, in my head, I like horror. I grew up really into horror movies, like to the point where I would go to the grocery store with my parents, and I don't know if you guys that are around my age did this, or maybe even older than me, but like you go shopping with your parents. When I was a kid, I would always, every time we went to the grocery store, I would say, I will be in the magazine section. And I would go to the magazine section and like lean against the magazine racks in Fry's grocery store in Tucson, Arizona, and I would flip through either pro wrestling magazines, sports magazines, or Fangoria. Those were always what I read. Metal Edge. Don't forget Metal Edge magazine. Almost forgot. Sorry, Jerry. Almost forgot Metal Edge. But Fangoria, because I loved Freddy Krueger, and I loved Jason Voorhees, and I loved, those big slasher 80s horror movies at the time. I loved Creepshow. I loved all that. So in my head, I love horror movies, right? I like horror. I have become sort of like weak minded towards horror, though, and I can actually pinpoint the exact moment when it was. So I'm a horror fan. I like horror, right? I was living in Philadelphia, and I had a lazy Sunday one day, single, no girlfriend, no cares in the world, whatever. And I went to a movie theater, and I went and saw the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I liked the old ones. And I almost had to walk out of the movie. It was so graphic and so just kind of real and violent. I hadn't seen a modern horror movie in a while, I guess. And it kind of bothered me. I was almost like, oh man. I don't know, I was just getting older, and the idea of seeing some, teenage girl, killed in a horrific way just didn't seem fun anymore, or whatever it was, but it really bothered me. And I decided at that point I didn't like horror anymore. Now, since then, I've seen some movies like, what did I just watch recently? I just watched a movie called The Babadook recently. Super creepy. Really creepy. Loved it. And I'm like, no, I still do like horror. So let's talk about Rob Zombie movies. House of a Thousand Corpses, and I forget the other one. Anyway, I saw those back then, and I kind of like his movies because they have a different feel and vibe, and it's crazy and over the top. And there's something I like about it. So I am not opposed to the Rob Zombie movies at all. I'm actually not totally into it, but I'm okay with that. Now, on a pinball machine, there's this extra thing that comes into play with me and themes. And this happened a little bit with Tales from the Crypt when I owned that, if you remember, friendly listener. Teresa, beautiful Teresa Shivers, who is in the other room, does not really like horror movies, does not really like gore, does not really like all that stuff. Devil's Rejects, the other movie I was thinking of. So I'm kind of in this funny spot of I don't want to upset Teresa by bringing in something horror and bad that she won't like and probably won't play or won't want to play, but I'm okay with it. So I was kind of at first like, I'm not really going to buy that. I don't think, I just bought Metallica, I've got America's Most Haunted, I've got a Twilight Zone, I don't have a lot of room, so I don't know, I'm just kind of not going to buy any more games, and Rob Zombie wasn't I don't really buy just on theme. I think you probably know that listening to this show, that's not generally what motivates me. As the game started getting closer to announcement, I started thinking more and more, and when they said that America's Most Haunted buyers were going to be, have the ability to have right of first refusal, I guess, if, you could have the first chance to buy it since, they supported the company. I appreciated that. And I think if you go and listen to this most recent Spooky Pinball podcast, you will hear two people in Charlie and Katie Emery who are sort of living the dream, as they say. They are running a pinball company. They don't have other jobs. They are supporting their family, living their life by building and selling pinball machines. That's pretty cool. And as the announcement came and I saw the excitement, because I figured they'd sell all 300 pretty quick. I really did believe that. And they didn't show any of the game. And I didn't know if they would show the game or part of the game or artwork of the game. But we saw who the artist was, Alex Horley. And I think Charlie showed me, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but he showed me an early sketch. I think on his phone of the back glass, and it looked pretty awesome. So as the hoopla kind of built up, I was sitting here, I even said to Teresa, I'm like, I don't know if I should buy this game or not, because, look, if it was buy this game for $6,000 right now, I probably wouldn't do it. I'm saving up for some other things, I'm working on some other things that need money, I'm just not really looking to buy another $6,000 game right now. I actually would like to buy a Big Lebowski. It's just that's not even $6,000. That's more like $8,000 or $9,000 by the time it gets to my doorstep. And that's sort of been my thought: is if you're going to buy another new game, you should buy the Big Lebowski, because I believe there will be, the run of Big Lebowskis, the first shipments. There'll probably be some extras built and sold afterwards, and then I think it's gone. I believe that's not inside information. That's just kind of how I think that's going to end up going. And I think that those will be, very collectible and fun. And I know how much energy they're putting into that. And that's another group of people I really respect and would love to support and be a part of. So I had that on my head. And then I listened, I had till July 4th to let Spooky know whether or not I wanted to exercise my Rob Zombie, game. Do I want the game? I'm, as an American Most Haunted buyer, I'm supposed to be able to get a spot. And it was almost like I was playing a game of chicken with myself in my own head. Because I'm like, no. And all I'm saying is I'm reserving a spot to say yes or no to send a deposit later. It's not even locked in. And I wasn't doing it. I hadn't sent them an email, and I was traveling. And I listened to, one night I laid in bed in Adrian, Oregon, and I listened to Charlie and KT, their last episode of Spooky Pinball, and they interview Sid Haig, who is Captain Spaulding in House of a Thousand Corpses, and listening to them talk about it. And, I saw and played the original Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave. It's like it's being erased from my memory. I played that original game and thought that it was, definitely lacking some stuff to do in the game. So that wasn't, I loved the theme. Actually, I thought the theme was awesome. Loved the backglass artwork. Really actually liked a lot of stuff going on with that. Liked that it was a different feeling game. I saw what Charlie was trying to do. It just seemed like a first pass at it and wasn't really ready for prime time. But I saw what he was trying to do with all the extra slingshots and the open feel and the odd placed pop bumpers in Pinball Zombies. So I was actually kind of into that. But it needed more. It definitely needed some other stuff, and I didn't think they were going to get there, honestly. I really thought that was going to be Charlie just wanted that design. That was the design. He was going to roll with it. Well, now with the Rob Zombie game, they're making changes, they're doing new things, and listening to them talk. And I know this is a really, really long answer. Listening to them talk about that. I was actually listening to it on July 4th. On the day I'm supposed to email them, I was like, man, why am I not telling them I want one? So, at probably I don't know, midnight my time, I think I sent KT an email, said, hey, so if by chance you still have a spot for me, I'm in. And her reply was almost like, yeah, we got you. Like, as if maybe they assumed I was already in or thought I was already in or something. So I don't know if that means I was already sort of on the list because I was an AMH buyer and I'm going to be early in the run or towards the very end. I don't know. But I just know that I guess now I'm on the list. I will have my chance to say yes or no to get one. My thought kind of is on this game is it's $1,000 deposit and then pay it off slowly. And if I'm later in the run, I have lots of time to pay it off. And somebody's going to want to buy this game that doesn't get in on it early. So maybe if I buy it, it doesn't thrill me to death and the theme is not for me, then I can sell it at a fair price to a big Rob Zombie fan who wasn't able to get it. And maybe somebody will hook me up with a Big Lebowski that way. I don't know, because I kind of want both machines and I don't know how I'm going to afford all that. So that's my really long-winded answer to tell you that, yeah, I kind of am in as of right now. I want to see what they've done with the Rob Zombie game. And if it just doesn't look like it's going to be my thing, if maybe the artwork's too much or the layout isn't looking like it's going to do it right for me, maybe I back out and let somebody who's going to really love that theme and really love that game get on the Spooky Pinball bus, as it may be, because it's a good bus to be on. So that's it. That's all. I got to figure out how to edit this show in this crazy software I'm using. So hopefully this doesn't take 3 days to get out and I can get it out tonight. Thank you for listening. It's episode 176. We've got more episodes this week. My computer will be back. Things will be back to normal. None of the shenanigans with no bumpers and stuff. I appreciate all the kind wishes after I announced that we'd hit the 2-year mark. I kind of just didn't even realize it until I was kind of into the episodes already. So thank you for all the nice comments on Pinside and the nice emails and Facebook messages. I really appreciate it. I think tomorrow night Teresa is going to play in her first pinball tournament. I believe that's happening, so that'll be fun to report back on. And until we meet again, play more pinball and enjoy it. Take care, guys.